Hello everyone, my name is Anangsha Liane and welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this on New Year, I wish you a very happy and prosperous New Year 2022. For my first video of this year, I wanted to do a wrap up of all the books that I read in 2021 and present to you the best books I read in 2021. So before we go into the book recommendations, I'd like to share that in 2021, I made a target of reading 50 books, but by the end of the year, I managed to complete reading 60 books in total. All of these books were really amazing, but I gave 5 stars to only 7 books, and in this video, I want to talk about the 7 best books that I read in 2021, a brief summary of each book, and why I think you should read them too. So without further ado, let's get started. Book number 1, Malice by Gwynne. The genre is high fantasy. I've heard so many amazing reviews of Malice among the fantasy lovers community, but whenever I started reading the book, I never got around to completing it. Every time when I start reading, I got distracted because there were so many characters and so much going on that I lost track of time and I just left the book midway. But in 2021, I finally managed to complete the book, and my god, how amazing it was. I also had the audiobook playing on in my earphones when I was reading the book. This helped me pay closer attention, and I also learned how to pronounce the character names, so yay! The story of Malice centers around two gods from the ancient times who are mortal enemies of each other. These two gods choose two mortal avatars to fight out their holy war in their names. The whole realm is torn by wars as kings and barons battle among themselves. These are wars of pride, of greed, of the desire to control power. And the stakes are so high that as a reader, you won't be able to stay away from reading the book because you'd want to know what happens in the next chapter. The story of Malice is about what happens when mortals and immortals clash, and about everything that humankind is pushed to do just because some people in power crave for even more power. If you are a fan of adult fantasy, then there is no reason you should miss this book. If you loved reading or watching Game of Thrones, The Witcher, or Wheel of Time, then I'm 100% sure you would love reading Malice. Be warned though, it takes a little time getting into it. The book has a pretty slow beginning, but once you get past that, you won't be able to tear your eyes off from the book. It's that amazing. Book number 2, Chocolat by Joanne Harris. The genre is romance or urban fantasy, or you can even say it's a little bit of magical realism. The book is a true sensory overload for all the senses. It is written in exquisite language with characters that you will fall in love instantly with. On every page, you can see the delicate care with which the author has crafted each word. And every page will make you want to keep turning to the next because you can't stay without knowing what happens with these characters that you have grown to love so much. At its heart, Chocolat is the story of Liane and her daughter Anouk, and how they have known change all their lives, moving from one city to the next, before they finally arrive at the quaint little village of Lansquenet, where Vienne finally believes that she can call it a home. But there are other forces at play, the people who see Vienne as a threat to what Lansquenet represents. They consider her as an evil force who is here in their little village to uproot everything that they believe in and turn the village entirely over. Will Vienne be able to survive the brutality of another village? Will the tiny little chocolate shop that she opened in Lansquenet be able to outlive the hatred of all the people who are hell-bent on ruining her? The only way to find out is to read the book. The link to buy it is in the description of this video, and trust me, you would not regret picking this up because it's that delicious and that amazing. Chocolat is not a book that you simply read. It's a book that you try, taste, and test. Book number 3, Daemon by Daniel Suarez. Genre is technical thriller. Looking at some of the reviews, I was worried that the book might be too hard for me to understand. But once I started, the addictive narrative didn't let me stop reading even for a few moments. The premise is Matt Sobel is a billionaire game developer who dies of brain cancer. Sobel was always interested in how the society functions and he was a fan of mimicking the social hierarchy in his video games. With time, he has developed a cult following among all the gamers in the world. After his diagnosis with cancer, Sobel wrote a Daemon, an AI computer program that executes on the day of his death. The Daemon goes on to recruit people who will further his cause and support his end vision. But the Daemon is also programmed to eliminate the people who don't follow his end vision. So this results in utter chaos and a deadly computer program that will stop at nothing and stop at killing no one until it achieves what it wants to achieve. The book is a high octane thriller of amazing, astounding proportions. And I'm not a programmer or a hacker, but it wasn't very difficult for me to understand the book. So if you love books that are fast paced and leave you guessing who will die next or what will happen next, then Daemon is definitely for you. If you ever enjoyed reading Dan Brown or Agatha Christie, then I'm 100% sure you will love reading Daemon because it's so amazing and so incredible, and the stakes are so high that you can't wait to find out what happens next. Daemon is also a part of a series, but the ending of the book 1 was satisfying enough, and right now I don't feel the need to start the next book yet because I am happy with the way things ended in book 1. But it's also a part of a series, and I have heard some amazing reviews of the series. So if you like technical thrillers, you would definitely love Daemon. Book number 4, Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. Genre, murder mystery and contemporary fiction. A 24-year-old single mother who has a son called Ziggy whom she loves unconditionally. A 40-year-old woman who is looking for a brand new chance with a new family and her 14-year-old daughter from a failed marriage. A beautiful 30-year-old woman married to one of the richest and most powerful men in the country who's living a life that's perfect from the outside, but on the inside, she's nurturing her own deep dark secret which she's hiding from even her best friends. These three women meet because their children study at the same school, and an unlikely friendship develops between the three. The book begins with a murder, but the most interesting part of this book is that even though it's a murder mystery, we don't know who is the person who was killed until the climax, until the end scene of the book. So it's a whole mind-boggling story of half-truths and completely concealed secret histories. And it explores the depths to which people would go to protect their family and the ones that they love. A brilliant idea executed to perfection by the author's prose. If you are looking for a fast-paced thriller that will keep you guessing who is the murderer and who was the one being murdered, then you should definitely pick up Big Little Lies. There's also an HBO series about the book, and I've heard amazing things about the series, although I haven't read it yet, but I plan to read it soon because I love this book so very much. Book number 5, Broken by Nicola Haken. Genre, queer romance. There are some trigger warnings of self-harm, depression and suicide in this book, so please read with care. I started reading this book at 1 a.m. one night and I finished reading it in less than 24 hours because that's how hooking the story is and that's how deeply I fell in love with the characters. 2021 was my year of exploring the genre of queer romance, and Broken is the one that easily occupies the top spot in the list of romances that I read this year. The story is a romance on the surface, sure, but there are layers that run much deeper. At its heart, this is a story about how to love someone with mental illness. There are parts in the story that are almost too painful to read, but they are also so important because we rarely see an accurate representation of mental health in today's books. In the world of TikTok and Instagram reels, where a person who's feeling slightly down starts calling themselves depressed, Broken is an honest, authentic take on what it means to be living with depression and bipolar disorder. I love this book because it not only helps to break the stigma around mental health, but it also provides an educative experience. And if you as a reader have no idea on what it means to live with a mental illness, then this book can be a great way to educate yourself about it. The author has done an amazing job at bringing these brilliant, flawed characters to life. If you can handle these trigger warnings of depression, self-harm and suicide, then I would definitely suggest you to read Broken, because this book is truly a life-changing experience. Book number 6, Age Later by Nir Barzilai. How can you live longer, have a healthier life, and be at your productive best even in your 80s? If you've ever wondered about the secrets of prolonging your health span, then Age Later is the book that you should read. The author is a professor at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine at Yeshiva and has been working with a group of centenarians to understand the secrets of their long and healthy life. In this book, he shares the story of how his research has shaped over the years and all the insights that the centenarians gave to him on longevity and how we as humans can prolong our life. The author shares some amazing insights throughout the book, but to me, the most fascinating part was how some simple daily habits that we can practice right now can help us live a longer, healthier and happier life, and we don't have to fall sick at 60 and just be bedridden all our lives. The secrets that the author shares in this book might help people live up to the age of 100 and be productive even in their 80s and 90s. There are so many tips and tricks that the author shares, but the 3 that stuck with me are: number 1, eating less and being in a caloric deficit all day long, which you can do by intermittent fasting or following a strict diet of counting your calories. Number 2, making sure that you get 5 hours of exercise each week. Number 3, not letting your body get too used to comfort or comfortable temperatures. There are so many other secrets, and I would strongly suggest you to read this book because it is truly a marvel that research in our times has resulted in a book as informative and as mind-blowing as this. Book number 7, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is not a new book. This was published in 1937 during the Great Depression. But the ideas presented in this book are still relevant today. Napoleon Hill shares the secrets of how you can rewire your mindset and reframe the way you think so you can have a rich and successful life. At its core is the idea that you can convince yourself to become wealthy, because you write your own destiny, you write your own present and your future, and you can definitely write a future for yourself where you are rich and you live in abundance. I am generally not a fan of self-help books, but this book struck a chord with me because I read it at the time when I was also on my path of personal growth, and I was also on my path of learning new things and expanding my existing mindset and broadening my mind. More than simply teaching you how to get rich, this book will actually teach you the framework and share actionable tips on how you can actually design the kind of life that you want. It sounds too simple, but you must read it to believe me, because this book is truly life-changing and it will actually make you think on how you go about your daily activities. So these were the best 7 books that I read in 2021. I am leaving the links to all of these books in the description of this video. These are affiliate links, so if you buy them through the links that I shared, it will help me earn some small commission on them without any extra cost to you. This would be a great way for you to support my journey so I can read more books and make more such videos for you. I am curious, did you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on them. So that brings us to the end of this video. I'll see you again soon. Until then, stay awesome, keep reading and keep smiling. Bye.